Good afternoon. I'm Steve Rehorst, one of the public information officers with the Watertown Task Force. Thank you for joining us today. This week begins our 2 times a week daily briefings we'll be giving. So it'll be every Monday and every Thursday at 3 p.m. So thank you for joining us. And up first, we have Mayor Karen with a community update.
Good afternoon. Today is Monday, May 4th, 2020. The state of South Dakota now has 2,668 cases of COVID and 21 deaths. Cottington County has 1 new case, so now we have 15 cases total, with 13 recovered. COVID-19 is our enemy, and we need to fight this enemy on 2 fronts with equal seriousness and devotion: economy versus public health. Now, it's not either or. We need to protect both, and we can protect both. Even though the restrictions have been relaxed, we must continue to take precautions. So that means we still need to maintain a social distance at all times from other people. We still need to maintain good hygiene, constant hand washing. We need to do good housekeeping and disinfect often. We need to avoid crowds. And wearing a mask protects others. It's what unselfish citizens do. And so I encourage people to wear a mask when they're out in a public setting where there's a group of people that they may encounter. The communities who carefully adhere to these precautions will emerge the strongest. And I know that's us. Our community has been very proactive in fighting against the COVID, and you can see the results. So this is not a time to let up on all of that. Even though the businesses are open and you can go and frequent the businesses, you still need to maintain all of these practices. So take your own personal responsibility to do that. Tonight, the City Council will be considering opening some of the public buildings which are closed with our emergency resolution. So we're talking about a couple of the Park Department buildings, the Prairie Lakes Wellness Center and the Bramble Park Zoo. Both of those we will be considering opening on a limited basis as recommended by the Park Board. But we're not talking about a full open, so we probably will not open the pool or the gym or the locker rooms at the Prairie Lakes Wellness Center, and probably no large group fitness classes. In the zoo, probably not open the Discovery Center. But there's a lot of things we can do, so we'll do what we can. And that's all I have to say. And today we will also have Lisa Johnson from the Department of Labor and Regulation, Josh Cleveland from the South Dakota Game Fish and Parks, and Jenna Moffett talking about our volunteer services. But we'll start next with Lisa Johnson.
Good afternoon. I just want to share a message about employees going back to work or not going back to work. So employees absolutely have the right to not go back to work. If after being placed on a temporary layoff related to the COVID-19, an employee refuses to return to work when recalled, that may impact their unemployment status or employment status, and it may make them ineligible for unemployment insurance benefits. Being uncomfortable about returning to work when recalled is not an acceptable circumstance. So you must have a valid reason, then you can back that up with some documentation. Per U.S. DOL guidance, they are advised by a healthcare provider to self-quarantine. An individual who does not go to work due to general concerns about exposure to the COVID-19 and who does not meet any other of the COVID-19 related criteria under the CARES Act unemployment provisions is not eligible for the Pandemic Unemployment Assistance, or PUA. We have these exceptions online at dlr.sd.gov/RA. We do encourage the worker and employer to work together to determine the best way to return to the workplace safely and continue to practice the CDC guidelines. Also, for claimants that are wanting to file unemployment, it's available on our website, raclaims.sd.gov. You can call our local office, 882-5131, or 605-626-2452. Thank you.
right, good afternoon. My name is Jenna Moffitt, and I'm with the COVID Helpers Group. And I want to first thank everyone in our community for all the selfless ways that they are helping out and growing stronger as a community, especially the volunteers that have signed up through Volunteer 211. We just have a wonderful group of volunteers that are willing to help in many different ways. And one way is through COVID Helpers. So we are a group of volunteers that provide free delivery to different groups in town. Those three groups that can request free delivery through COVID Helpers are high-risk individuals, so that's anyone 65 and older or has a chronic medical condition. We're also expanding our offering to anyone who's been quarantined due to possible exposure to COVID, or someone who's isolated, or a household that's isolated because they've been diagnosed with COVID or presumed to have COVID. So we are excited that we're also offering delivery for any purchased goods. So anyone in those three groups can request a COVID helper to pick up an order of purchased goods. That can include groceries, over-the-counter medicines, or non-food items, or prepared food in certain circumstances. So if you would like to use our service, there's 3 steps. First, you purchase your goods online or over the phone through a local business here in the community. Next, once you have your order paid for and you know what time the pickup is, you call our hotline, and that number is 237-7234. And you can share your pickup information, what time and the place, and they will write that down for you. We'll then send a volunteer to pick up that order and deliver it contact-free to your place of residence. And as long as you are able to retrieve that order, it should work great. So important information to remember, there is no charge for this delivery. It is all volunteer-based, and there's a wonderful group of volunteers that just want to help. And so we're doing this at no charge. Anyone who is high risk, under quarantine, or under isolation, or currently sick with COVID may request this service. This is to ensure that the high-risk individuals do not have to make more trips to the store than they need to, and those who possibly have COVID aren't taking trips to the store or feeling the need to. We will definitely bring those goods to you just to protect other people. Items must be purchased beforehand through the store. The volunteers will not purchase any items or handle money. If you need assistance, financial assistance, purchasing any of your essentials, please contact 211. Regarding the prepared food, so we're excited to be able to offer this, but we do have a few disclaimers. We cannot guarantee it will arrive hot at your doorstep, and we definitely want you to order delivery through groups that already provide it. So if the store already provides delivery through themselves or a third party, we will not deliver those types of prepared food. And we encourage you to spread the word to family and friends that would benefit from this service. I know many people who would benefit from this may not be on Facebook, so please share this service with a loved one or neighbor. And I know not everyone is familiar with online ordering, so if you know someone who doesn't know how to use the service, please offer to make the order for them or assist them in making that order. And this information, including how to order, will be shared on the 2020 Watertown COVID-19 Facebook page. And once again, if you would like to request delivery, call 237-7234. And next will be Josh with Game, Fish, and Parks. Thank you.
Hi, Josh Cleveland here. I'm the District Park Supervisor for the state parks around Watertown, including Pelican Lake and Sandy Shore Recreation Area. Game, Fish, and Parks is currently working with the Department of Health and evaluating the circumstances every day in this fluid, changing situation. At this time, our state parks are open. We have no plans to close state parks, fishing, or hunting seasons. That's a question we get quite a bit. We are encouraging people to get outside while following social distancing and other guidelines provided by Governor Nome and the CDC. Everyone must make mindful decisions as we care for ourselves and our families, and staying home is a viable option for you. Visit parks close to home. I know we've got great parks across the state here, but trying to keep people local. And for those of you out of town, please follow any stay-at-home guidelines that your city or state has enacted. Follow the CDC guidelines on the recommended size of social gatherings and maintain proper physical distance at all times. That includes while you're at your campsite or visiting other campsites, sitting around the campfire, on trails, shore fishing, those situations. Please keep that in mind. We're encouraging campers and visitors to be self-contained. Our dump stations are open so that you can fill your water storage and empty your holding tanks. With that, the following shared spaces are currently closed until further notice. Our comfort stations with flush toilets and showers, fish cleaning stations, and other facilities related to frequently touched spaces. The following services are currently open: trails, campgrounds and camping, cabins, picnic shelters, playgrounds, and boat ramps. To help us minimize public interaction, we're limiting the amount of time that we have staff at entrance stations. We're encouraging the public to buy their park entrance licenses online or through a local retailer. It is state law that park entrance licenses are required to enter a state park, but we are not enforcing that at this time. But for those of you that are looking to buy your park sticker, those are options there. In the short term, all group activities, programs, and events are canceled. However, we are working to provide fun, entertaining family education options on our different social media pages. The local page that we have here is Pelican Lake, Sandy Shore, and Lake Cochran recreation areas. We have a number of outdoor education programs on that page right now. More information on hunting, fishing, and state parks related to COVID-19 can be found at gfp.sd.gov. The state parks are busy. There's a lot of people that have been out in the last week, a lot of shore fishing going on. It's great to see. So those are options for people to get out of the house while this is going on. Thanks.
Thank you, everyone, for the updates. So as a friendly reminder, the COVID hotline is still available. So if you have any questions about symptoms you're experiencing or if you think you may be exposed, please call that number at 753-1408, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m., Saturday, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m., and Sunday, 1 to 5 p.m. And that COVID helpers line that Jenna referenced, that's 237-7234. The food distribution that happens on Thursdays, thanks to the Watertown Community Cares, is still going to be available at 4 o'clock. So that's Thursday at 4 o'clock through the rest of the month of May. Are there any questions from the media today?
Hi, this is Mike at KWAT. I had a question for the mayor if she's available.
Go ahead, Mike.
Hi, Sarah. I'm just wondering, since the emergency ordinance was sunsetted a week ago today and businesses began to reopen, are you hearing any feedback, comments, positive or negative, about the way businesses have reopened? Any complaints maybe regarding businesses allowing too many customers in, they're not social distancing? Just kind of a general view of how things have gone since Watertown started reopening again.
Well, thanks for the question, Mike. I'm happy to say that we have had a few complaints, but they haven't panned out when they've been investigated. We've discovered that the restaurants are really trying hard to do a good job with the social distancing and keeping everything just right. And so far, no problems. People have reported that it looks like it's really crowded because the parking lot is packed. But then when you go in the business, that we're finding that that's just not true. So I hope that that continues. I think that it will. I believe that our businesses want very much to be successful. No one wants to be known as that business where the pandemic took off in Watertown. So they're all doing a good job of keeping things just right. Thanks.
Giving any guidance, Mayor, to the police department on how actively they should pursue any complaints?
Well, they will speak with the proprietors if they go into a business and find that there is a violation. And right now we aren't enforcing. We're asking for compliance, and there hasn't been any problem whatsoever with that. The proprietors have been very willing to accept advice, and a lot of them have called me, and actually I can't keep up with all the calls. People wanting to know what they can do, how they can make it right. So I know people are trying really hard. The business owners are trying hard to do this right.
And one quick follow-up on a little bit of a different topic here.
Go ahead. You there, Mike?
Mayor, are you there?
I'm still here, Mike.
Okay, I'm sorry. I think my line cut out there. I know you mentioned that there was some fear following the Easter holiday with people traveling and being with family over the holiday that we might see an Easter bump. I think there have been, in Cottington County, maybe 2, perhaps 3 new cases since Easter. Are you pretty confident that that threat is just about behind us or not?
Well, it's very possible that that threat is behind us, but the problem is so many people have a really mild case of COVID if they contract it, and so they may not go in to be tested. They may not even be aware that they have it, and they may have spread it to someone else, and then they spread it to someone else, and it's secretly working its way around our community. So we could still see some numbers go up, but as long as people are maintaining the social distance and washing their hands frequently, protecting themselves if they're vulnerable, I think we'll be fine, and we won't have a huge explosion. So we're watching it, and so far so good.
Thank you, Mayor. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Mayor Troy at KXLG.
Hi, Troy. Go ahead.
Hi, Mayor. Good afternoon. During the governor's press conference today, she mentioned that she had a conference call with the mayors throughout the city. I was wondering if you could give us your take on that conference call, how you think that call went.
Mike Tanner?
What you anticipate coming out of the revenues at the state level.
Okay, so I have been having conversations regularly with the other mayors and with the governor, and we're all kind of on the same page. Different cities are managing differently. Some of the cities have written guidelines, and some of them don't. And actually, the compliance has been similar, whether we have regulations or not. They're like Pierre, for instance, never had any restrictions, but businesses closed because people weren't frequenting them, so they just closed their doors. And they have a hard time finding people who want to come to work. I'm hearing that from other cities. We don't have numbers, and the governor has told us that she expects our sales tax revenues to take a hit this year, and we fully expect that, but we won't know what the impact is because it takes a while to compile the information until later. So right now we're just guessing, and so is she. But we are trying to fight the downturn in the economy while still maintaining the fight against COVID to protect our vulnerable people by having business open, but having people take it upon themselves to be personally responsible, to protect themselves and others by following the guidelines for social distance and all of that. And so I think our governor, Noam, keeps giving us the message that we need to be responsible for this, and continue to take these precautions even though the restrictions are relaxed. So that's what we're trying to do.
Okay, thank you. And just a follow-up question. Here in about 2.5 hours, the City Council is going to meet. One of the topics of discussion is going to be reopening some city infrastructure, as you mentioned. What is the general feeling that you're receiving from the council and members of the public about doing that?
Well, the public is mixed on whether those whether it's right to open those buildings, but I think that there's a majority sense that we should. The private gyms are open, and why not have our public Prairie Lakes Wellness Center open? But we do need to make sure that we're taking extra precaution to keep it clean. And we've always had signs on the machines about disinfecting when you get off, and there's wipes around for that. And sometimes people do and sometimes people don't. That has to change. People who exercise at the wellness center or any gym need to be cleaning up after themselves as well as the staff. I mean, the staff will be doing that, but we need to do it ourselves as well. So if you've exercised on a machine, wipe it down like the sign says you're supposed to. That will really help a lot. And if everyone is taking it upon themselves to do those things, I think we'll be fine. And we'll take this one step at a time. We're not talking about opening City Hall at this time. Some of the other cities in the state are starting to open their city halls up, and some of their other, we'll watch how that goes. And we're able to meet all the needs of our citizens while we're closed because the employees are still working, and we're making arrangements to meet people on a case-by-case basis. So we'll continue on the limited service track as long as we need to and just watch what happens.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you very much for your time, and I appreciate all the work that the task force is doing to keep us updated. Thank you.
Dan Christopher from the Public Opinion. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think earlier in the press conference you said that the city council is probably not going to look at reopening like the pool tonight. Is that right? Or
yes, the park recommendation, if followed by the city council, will be to keep the pool closed at this time and the locker rooms. But there has been inquiry about that. People would like that to be open. We're not so worried about the water in the pool, which has got chemicals in it, but you don't go in the pool without first showering, and that means the locker rooms have to be open, and we have to be able to keep our locker rooms sanitized as well, and that's difficult.
Okay. If I recall correctly, last week at the Park and Rec Board, and feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, but Terry was saying that any decision, they would have to open the pool up by like early June 1st, in order to make it financially feasible. So then, the council would have to make a decision, presumably in about 2 weeks. Then,
right. So the decision has to be made at some point to open or not. And I know, this was a topic of conversation with the mayors today. What are other cities doing? And Rapid City said they've already made the decision not to open the pools because of the financial burden it is. It costs them, hundreds of thousands of dollars to open the pool in a time where they know they're going to have a shortfall in revenue. So it is a service, but it's one they've already decided to cut. So even though we may be able to provide the service in a safe and clean manner, the council may choose not to because of financial reasons. We don't have to make that decision yet, and we'll push it out as far as we can in order to make the best decision. But we don't want to make a decision before we have to and then find out, we had no problem with our revenue. We could have opened. So we're playing that by ear. But we do want to provide any services that we can over the summer. We want to do some of the recreation items that we have. We just don't know which ones we're going to be able to do yet.
all right, thank you for your time.
You bet.
All right, thank you everyone for your great questions and for our presenters today and for you joining in on our briefing. We will have another briefing on Thursday. Have a great evening.